Will tonight, LeBron arrived on the NBA scene back on October 29, 2003. It was in Sacramento against the Kings. Here's a look back at LeBron's NBA debut 17 years ago.
You think you'll be nervous?
I know I'll be nervous, but I think once the game starts, I'll be ready to play.
There is the man of the hour in probably the most anticipated debut of any first-year athlete in any sport. LeBron James' first shot is good. Here he comes the other way. There's your first James jam of his career.
He's not disappointing me, I'm telling you right now.
This time he dishes to his trailer, Davis. How about that?
This is getting out of control.
Oh, way off balance over a 7-footer, and he knocked it down. Little dipsy-do for LeBron James.
Don't show him everything.
Not in the first game.
What's your assessment of your first game?
Just try to pull out a victory, try to steal one on the West Coast. It didn't work out our way, but we got another game tomorrow. We're going to try to get one tomorrow.
Gosh, October of 2003. And that was the first 25 of what has become 33,578 points for LeBron James during his career. He enters tonight's game against the Knicks just 66 points shy of passing Kobe for sole possession of third place on the NBA's all-time scoring list. LeBron has averaged, by the way, over 28 points per game in his career at the current Madison Square Garden. That is third most all-time behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yes, professional basketball comes to Madison Square Garden one night only. LeBron and the Lakers in Fun City to visit the New York Knickerbockers. Our NBA and Laker man Dave McMenamin is at MSG. LeBron at the Garden's always money, but as we just saw, he's hunting all-time greatness too. That's a priority?
Oh, absolutely. Now, his camp is well aware of him tracking down Kobe Bryant in the record book, 66 points away from passing him as the number 3 all-time leading scorer in league history. The last game he had against Boston, someone in his camp told me, hey, what do you think? 40 tonight, 41 at the Garden? Because he needed 81 at that point. Now, 66 is a tall task. The most he ever scored in a game is 61. But he's a guy who loves history, guy who loves narratives. 14 years ago to the day, Kobe Bryant scored 81. So why not pass him with 66? A man can hope. Let's see some history tonight at the Garden versus, not that good of a Knicks team.
Yeah, and the historical rivalry continues into the ages. Dave McMenamin from MSG before LeBron and the Lakers versus the checks notes New York Knickerbockers. Many thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Been a lot of pontificating, speculating about what Zion will do tonight now that he's finally
a return engagement or bout. But how much, assess this from your day there, how much damage has this done to Bill Self and to his Kansas basketball image?
Well, I think you have to go back to the notice of allegations of the NCAA investigation, and that's something that Kansas is currently dealing with. They're in the appeals process now. But this is certainly a stain on the program, and I think this is the most difficult chapter of Bill Self's career. I sat in his office 2 years ago, and he told me that he doesn't want to coach past the age of 60. He turns 58 this year, and I don't think he ever imagined that he'd be dealing with an NCAA investigation and now trying to explain to the world why one of his players picked up a stool in the middle of a fight. So it's been a rough stretch for the entire program, but especially Bill Self as well.
Myron Metcalf in Lawrence, where the Jayhawks went from possibly punching their ticket to definitely punching their rivals. Thank you, Myron. Coach Seth Greenberg in Bristol. All right, the suspensions, first by Coach Bill Self, the indefinite one, and now superseded by these 4 from the Big 12, and the key to that being 12 for DeSouza. Your reaction to these, are they appropriate? Are they the right amount? Was it done with the idea of avoiding the rematch against K-State?
Without a doubt, it was done with the idea of avoiding the matchup with K-State, and that is intelligent to do because you don't want to put him in that situation. You don't want to put the other players in that situation. It would have been a volatile situation. Ownership in the Octagon of Doom, it's appropriately named. It would have been absolutely brutal. Now, to me, look, let's face it, when he stood over the Gordon kid, that situation escalated. Now, James Love was getting 7 games suspension. He came off the bench. He wasn't even suited up for the game. I think his suspension should almost match that of Sylvia DeSouza. I would have suspended DeSouza for the rest of the season because I think as it escalated, even though he was protecting himself, I thought that he did some things that were totally inappropriate. Picking up that chair, and thank goodness other people around stepped in, and you could say, well, he didn't swing it. He didn't swing it, but to me, and I'm not speculating, it looked like some type of intent. The other thing I'm concerned about, or not concerned about, just surprised about, the players that left the bench. None of the other players that left the bench were suspended at all. So basically, I'm not saying you're condoning that behavior, but I think that should have been addressed in some manner.
All right, Coach, and we'll go through it again. James Love got 8, Antonio Gordon got 3, DeSosa 12, and David McCormick 2. Seth Greenberg at World Headquarters. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Keith.
There you see the clock continuing to tick. Just over 3 hours until Zion Williamson, the #1 overall pick in last June's NBA draft, finally makes his NBA debut. Let's take you back to some preseason action. We didn't get to see much of him, but we did see a few impressive games. This is against the Bulls on October 9th, and the pass to Lonzo Ball, who sets him up for that. We all know from last year at Duke how athletic Zion Williamson is. He finished with 8 points in the first quarter of this game. Certainly agile despite his size. Second quarter in transition, Zion, you see the spin there. That's not bad. They'll take that. Second quarter in transition again, and then he's just going to fly past his defender and off glass there. That game, if you recall, this is what's so impressive as well. He was so efficient with his shot, 92%, 12 of 13 from the floor, and then he does that pretty well as well. Zion was finished with 29 points in 27 minutes against that. Again, that was a long time ago, October 9th against the Chicago Bulls. And finally now, we can talk about real games. Doris Burke is on the call of the Sixers-Raptors game tonight at 7 Eastern here, top of the hour on ESPN. Joins us now live from Toronto, and I'm going to get to you about the Raptors, but I think I know what you're doing as soon as your game wraps up, Doris. Sprinting back to the hotel to see this young man named Zion Williamson finally make his debut. Specifically, Doris, what will you be looking for from him tonight?
Well, I'm thrilled I'm steps away from my hotel. That's number one, because you're anticipating correctly. And listen, I'm not sure 100% what to expect. I can tell you what I hope for the young man, because there's been a lot of talk about his weight and his mechanics. Are they right? Is he too heavy? What we know unequivocally is this is unlike anything we've ever seen. This guy is an open floor menace at his size, with the hop and the power and the speed and the open floor. And he provides New Orleans exactly what they need to complement what they're doing now. They take a ton of threes. You've got Lonzo Ball, who's played at a high level and can find a lot of guys. He gives them a guy who can stretch the floor vertically. I wish him just health and a long career, because he's so dynamic, and I can't wait.
You are not alone. Cannot wait for that. Again, just over 3 hours here. But first to your game, and I don't think enough people are talking about the Toronto Raptors. 7-3 in their last 10 games. Third in the East. Of course, this is after Kawhi left, and nobody thought they could do this, Doris. How are they doing it?
Yeah, completely healthy, Sage. I think they have a real opportunity to get the 2 seed because of their depth. And a season ago, 3 particular guys were critical in that NBA championship, and all 3 guys have taken a step forward. So Kyle Lowry a season ago was dynamic as a passer. He's come out as an aggressive scorer as he was early in his career. Pascal Siakam is trying to find that primary scorer mentality he had before he got hurt and missed the 11 games. And Fred VanVleet is knocked down big shots in the playoffs. He has knocked them down in key wins this year. And then Norman Powell off the bench has been dynamic. So they've done it with depth and quality professionals who are way more confident after an NBA championship.
Absolutely. Doris Burke and Ryan Ruocco on the call of Sixers Raptors.
I'm going to stay here for a long time.
Finally, we're within hours of the debut of Zion Williamson. 9:30 Eastern time right here on ESPN. You see the time ticking down right there. What have we seen from him so far? Well, the early returns were pretty exciting. It was preseason. His debut came October 7th in a win over the Hawks. He filled up the stat sheet. 16 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a 24-point Pelicans win. Zion played nearly 28 minutes as the starting power forward. On October 9th, he had maybe his best performance of the preseason. It was against Chicago. 29 points on 12 of 13 shooting. Very efficient. Tossed in a preseason high 4 assists as well as 4 rebounds, and another high-scoring affair for New Orleans. 2 days later, October 11th against the Jazz, he played in front of the home fans in New Orleans for the only time. 26 points, 9 of 12 shooting. He also knocked down his only 3 of the preseason to go along with 5 rebounds and another Pelicans win. And then the last time we saw Zion in game action, a little over 3 months ago, October 13th. Coincidentally, also against the Spurs, just like it will be tonight. He had 22 and 10 before ultimately suffering the torn meniscus that has kept him out until tonight. Zion, your wait is over.
Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get sleep. I'm going to be too excited thinking about my first NBA game. I know the people of New Orleans are going to show a lot of love because that's what they do. But from the outside people, you know, all I can do is just invite the love. If they want to bring it, then bring it. I'm not really putting no pressure on it at all. I love to play basketball, so I'm just looking to go out there, have fun, and compete. There was a lot of times when I just wanted to punch a wall or kick chairs because it's frustrating. And I think my mom as well. You know, she always looks at me and go, you know, nobody told you this is going to be easy. So it's a part of the journey. I embrace it, and I get to play.
And here we go. NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski.